Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR Halacha. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for Wednesday, 22nd day of March, 24th day of Adar. Here we go. Today, some talk about the matzahs and how they are made. Let's start with Shmurah Matzah. You probably hear of Shmurah Matzah and you know that it's more expensive than regular matzah. What is it exactly? So the basic idea is that Shmurah Matzah is matzah that is watched very carefully right from early on, right from when the wheat is gathered out of the field. It's kept perfectly dry and watched very carefully so that no water comes into contact with the wheat from the earliest possible moment. That way, there's much less fear that the wheat is in any way going to ever ferment when it becomes flour because it's been perfectly dry. It's when water and flour come together that the fermenting starts. And so in Shmurah Matzah baking, they watch very carefully to make certain that the flour always is, in every way possible, is kept perfectly dry. Now you might see round handmade shmurah matzahs, and you can also see square machine-made shmurah matzahs. They're both perfectly kosher, and they are both perfectly considered shmurah matzah. No one actually says that, or shouldn't say, that the round handmade shmurah matzahs are more kosher than the machine-made shmurah matzahs. There are people who definitely prefer the round ones, and that's because they're very traditional, they're handmade, you know that people are watching them very carefully, and the machines, trust me, they are watched very carefully too, but people just have a preference that they like those round ones that are handmade because they're just humanly watched all the way through. And again, I'm not casting aspersions on the machine ones, I use them. The machine shmurah matzahs are fine, they're kosher 100%, and they are also shmurah matzah. The main idea is that the hand ones are put on things by hand, put into the oven by hand, taken out of the oven by hand, whereas the machine ones are very carefully cleaned machines that have a perfect process that takes the matzahs through the ovens also in a perfectly timed way such that they can't become chametz. So they're both perfectly kosher. Those who prefer the round hand ones just feel that it's more traditional and they like the fact that it's handmade and just handled by humans all the way from beginning to end. Why are they made round? That's symbolic of two things. Roundness, though you might not realize it, is considered symbolic of God's oneness. When something is round, there are like no appendages. It's just one thing, round and round, and that's one way of symbolizing that God is one. Also, more famously known is the fact that matzos in the Torah are referred to as ugos matzos, and ugos kind of sounds like it refers to round, and that's why those hand ones are made in round. The machine ones that are square are perfectly, again, kosher. It's just that they are made in the standard way that machines handle well, which is the perfect unified, formal, exact size that the square machines help produce. Now, why are there holes in the matzah? The reason that there are holes put in the matzah is because that helps perforate them such that they can't rise into chametz in any way at all, and that's why all matzahs have holes poked into them. Matzahs are made with mayim shelanu, that means water that is left overnight. We want to make certain that the waters are not warmed in any way, and water that stays cool overnight away from the sun's rays. That's the kind of water that we have to use in making matzah. It is best that you use Shmurah Matzah for the Seder. You don't have to use Shmurah Matzah for the other parts of Pesach if you don't want to, but Shmurah Matzah certainly at the very minimum should be used at the Seder. You could also get your Shmurah Matzah made out of whole wheat. Nothing wrong with that at all. It's a little better for your stomach, and some people for gluten reasons will try to use oat matzah. That's okay too, 100% proper. They're spelt matzah. I don't know so much about those, but I know that they're available and that they're perfectly kosher. Make sure that all these things have a proper, good, reliable hechsher on them. And those are some speedy facts on Shmurah Matzah for you today. Thanks for logging on. Log on again tomorrow for more. Bye-bye.